Greetings, folks. This is Thursday evening, January 24th, 2019, and I rarely do an evening edition of my commentary, but yet here it is. And the reason for this is this morning, by accident, you know why women don't like men to have remote control. Well, I don't have a woman in my life to care, but when I'm watching TV, I often have the remote control. Then during commercial breaks, I change channels. Every once in a while, I get into something, and well, that happened today. Sometimes I'm up in the morning and I'm watching the news or something else, and I that's what I was doing this morning, and I caught a little bit of the third hour of the Today Show on NBC, and the only person I could remember the name to is Dylan Dreyer, and simply because she's cute. I think she's very pretty, and so I remember her and her name, and she had her own little program, something. It was on Saturday morning, had to do with she was like traveling from one place to another, talking about seals and manatees and whatever else. So I saw that once in a while, and who's the guy that does the weather on NBC in the morning? I can't think of his name. It's horrible. The black guy with the glasses on. Anyway, so they were there, and I don't know who the other two were at all, but they were talking about climate change, and they were talking about climate change as if it was a reality. Folks, those of you who believe in climate change need to learn, go study what climate is and how we get it. Alright? Now, I've explained this before. Oh, and by the way, then after that, I thought, I wonder what John Stossel says about this. And so I found a few programs where he talked about climate change. Well, there's one thing he understands, that climate change is more politics than it is science. And that, at least that's what I got out of his programming, although when he was asked the question, does climate change exist, he says yes. So, but he doesn't want to make a big deal about it. It's, to pass laws telling us we have to control climate change is, political, and then, we shouldn't be doing that. So at any rate, so he's half right. Climate change is all political and not of science. I mean, if there's a scientist out there that believes in climate change, I think you need to put him in the nut farm, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. All right, let me explain this one more time. All right, the sun. It is the rays of the sun that gives us climate. All right, twice a year. First day of spring, first day of fall. The spring equinox and the fall equinox. Those days are when the direct rays of the sun are on the equator. All right? Then we have the first day of winter and the first day of summer. And on the first day of summer, the direct rays of the sun are on the northern tropic. And then the first day of winter, our winter, their summer, in the south, the direct rays of the sun are on the southern tropic. All right. Now, that is something that's been going on for thousands of years. And that is also how we get climate. See, the equator has more sun than any other part of the world, and that's called the equatorial or torrid zone. All right? It's a climatological zone with a lot of warm air involved. And then wherever the direct rays of the sun are, that's where the warmth is. All right? Does that make sense? And so how we get seasons is also how we get climate. Now, so the equator gets more of the rays of the sun, while at the poles they get less of the rays of the sun. In fact, at the poles, it's dark for 6 months. So climate is determined on the rays of the sun. The seasons and the climate go hand in hand. And it's all based on the rays of the sun. Now, if climate is changing, then the direct rays of the sun have to be changing. And they don't. They still hit the equator twice a year. They still hit the tropics twice a year. And that's it. You know, so where there is more sun, there is more warmth. Where there is less sun, there's cool. And that's not changed. I mean, are you going to try to tell me that the North Pole is getting as warm as the equator? Anyway, it's so disgusting. So, John Stossel, you are half right. But there is no climate change. None. Zilch. Now, does weather fluctuate? Do we have extreme weather here and there? Yeah, but you see that's been going on for thousands of years too. So nothing has changed over thousands of years. And certainly, man cannot change the weather or the climate or anything else. There's nothing that man has ever done to change climate. Now, I said before, is there global warming? Well, I don't know if there's global warming, and I explained this before. You've got the Earth's core, and the Earth's core creates a magnetic field around the Earth that protects the Earth from the harmful rays of the sun. Now, sometimes the Earth's that magnetic field fluctuates depending on the temperature of the Earth's core. The warmer it is at the Earth's core, the stronger the magnetic field. But sometimes the Earth's core is different in one part of the Earth's core and another part of the Earth's core, and it causes fluctuations in the magnetic field. Wherever the magnetic field is the weakest, you get more rays of the sun, and therefore you get warming. Wherever the magnetic field is strongest, you get less of the harmful rays of the sun, and you get cooling. Now, this is stuff that's been going on forever, ever since God created the earth. And I think that's part of the problem. These people are trying to prove God doesn't exist. These people want to say that man is the center of the universe and that man caused all this problem. No, he did not. Man does not have the wherewithal to cause anything like that. God controls the weather. And if you want to believe in climate change, that's up to you. But if there is any kind of change in the climate, it's because God directs it. And I don't know if you want to argue with him. But there is no climate change. The direct rays of the sun are set in stone. They have not changed. And since the direct rays of the sun have been the same year after year after year after year, climate hasn't changed either. So if you understand how we get climate to begin with, you cannot believe in climate change. It's as simple as that. It is all politics and none of science. And you've got these people control maniacs, these control freaks that wants to control everything we do. And so they got to create a crisis. Hey, we got a crisis at the border. No, we don't. Yeah, it was made by the people who claim we have a crisis at the border. But we don't have a crisis at the border. Nothing that is anyway, it's incredible. I mean, these control freaks in politics, they create these issues to panic the people so they can pass law after law after law to control the people, to take away your freedom. You see, now that's what climate change is all about. It's about taking away your liberty. That's what it's about. There's nothing in science. And some scientist that says that climate change is real, he's probably being paid big bucks to say that. Anyway, people who want to present the truth don't get paid anything. I'm telling you the truth. I am telling you how climate is determined. And that hasn't changed for thousands of years. Okay. Now go listen to what John Stossel has to say. That's my commentary. Thank you for listening.